Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Bean and today I wanted to do a part 2 to the eye brushes video that I did not too long ago. This is going to be a face brush video. And if you're noticing that I look the same, I filmed them on the same day, so that's why. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started. I've got a lot of brushes to talk about and I want to go ahead and get started so that this video isn't super long. I want to start out with foundation brushes. I've got a plethora of different types of brushes that I use for foundation. First of all, I wanted to mention, and I'm sorry that these are dirty, some of my favorite sponges first. Okay, so my favorite sponges right now are the Beauty Blender, which is the OG foundation sponge. You just get it wet. You can use it dry too, but most people use it wet. Pretty much doubles in size, and then you just use it to pounce on your foundation. You can use the pointed end for your concealer, nose, really anything you want you can use one of these for. So this is the regular Beauty Blender. This one is in a limited edition orange color because I really liked it. My next favorite sponge is so sorry about the makeup on it, but this is the Real Techniques sponge. It's really good. It's got a flat side, which is different than the Beauty Blender. And then I also like this little shaped sponge. This is from Morphe. And sponges are a really good way to put on your foundation. Really, however you feel like using them, whatever you find works best for you. Using them wet gives you more of a lighter coverage, while using them dry will give you a more full coverage. So my favorite brush to use for foundation is this one right here. It is a flat top brush. This is the Morphe E6 and it is a flat top brush. It's pretty dense. I find that that helps to blend out the foundation but keeps the brush from eating it. I've also got this one right here, which is similar. It is the It Cosmetics Airbrush Serum Foundation number 131 brush. I think this is the first brush I ever purchased. I also like this one for foundation. It is the Morphe M444 brush. It is a really big flat brush and it's good for buffing in your foundation. I also really like this one. This is the Bare Minerals Perfecting Face brush. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little hole in the middle. Kind of helps to buff in your foundation. I find that when I use this, I get really good coverage. And then the next one is the e.l.f. 103 brush. This is in their Beautifully Precise collection, and I like to use this one sometimes for foundation. I also really like to use this one for powder under my eye or just kind of all over. Again, like I mentioned in my last video, this is really just a guideline of how you can use brushes, and there are so many ways to use so many different brushes. So don't think if I use it a certain way, you have to. If you like to use a certain brush for something that I don't, doesn't matter. However it works for you is however it works for you. Another option is this type of brush. This is from Crown. This is one of the flat oval brushes. The last type of brushes that are used somewhat for foundation are these. These are just kind of flat foundation brushes. I don't really like these because I feel like it takes forever and it leaves streaks. I would rather have kind of a more densely packed like this rather than a flat brush like this, because whereas this you can buff it in like this you can't. You pretty much have to paint it on, and it does leave streaks, but it is an option. And the next category that I'm going to go into is concealer brushes. Normally I'll just use my beauty sponge for this, but if I am using brushes, I will use a brush like this. Not sure if that's actually what these are for, but that's what I use them for. They're really dense small brushes, and I find that they're really good to pat out your concealer and just blend it in. This one is the Morphe M173, the Morphe G38, and the Morphe G34. Moving on to powder brushes, I really like to use smaller brushes for my under eye powder. This one is my favorite. This is the Morphe R10, and I find that it fits just perfectly under my eye, and I can get exactly the powder that I want. I want to powder in specific places and not over my entire face. I use this one. I use this one as well. This is the Morphe M528, and this one also fits pretty good right under your eye because of the pointed tip. If I'm doing powder all over my face, which I do occasionally, but only if the foundation is really tacky, I will use a brush like this. This is the Morphe R7, and you can just dip it in the powder and then just kind of lightly press it over your whole face. A brush like this. This one doesn't have a number. I got this off of Wish, but I really like it and it's a pretty good quality brush. Or a big brush like this. This is the Morphe E41, and this one you can kind of pat pack the powder on rather than just kind of fluff it on. So that is the difference between one like this and one like this. This one is way more dense. For bronzer, it depends on what I want to do. If I'm gonna just bronze my whole cheek, I use this one. This is the Morphe MB1 brush, and it's really big. Pretty sure it's powder brush, but I like to use it for bronzer. I just can bronze my whole cheek with this, so I like that. My other favorite bronzing brush is this one, and this one is more precise. This is the Morphe E3, and I can just kind of bronze right where I want it to be. A couple other brushes that are similar in shape to that one. I've got 3 of them here. This one was from the Tarte Unicorn collection. This is from Wet n Wild. This is from a recent collection they came out with. I forget what it's called, but they are still on their website, and they are really affordable brushes. And also this one by Morphe, it is the Morphe G5. And I've got a couple more. I've got this one, which I use more for contouring. That's what the rest of these brushes are. In this category, this is the Morphe E34. Looks like this. I can get it kind of right there where I want it in my cheekbone. These I don't use very much, but I figured I'd mention them because I know a lot of people do like them. They are the flat top brushes like this. You are able to get a really precise line. The only thing I really use these for are to dip into powder, and I'll either put like some powder here to keep my eyeshadow from going everywhere, or I will cut my contour and powder with that. But you can use this to actually contour as well. The last 2 that I have are smaller contouring brushes. This one is the Morphe E48, and I use this one to get right in there and contour. Sometimes I'll use this to contour my nose, but my favorite nose contouring brush is this one. This is the Morphe G41, and it's really small. It's one of these flat brushes, but it's really small, and it's perfect for getting right on my nose. Moving on to blush. For blush, I really like big fluffy brushes that don't pack on color, because when I use blush, I like it to kind of just be like a wash of color and not, you know, real bright right in one spot. So I usually use a brush like one of these, a big fluffy brush like this. You can also use these for bronzer, powder, whatever. Like I said, you can use these for tons of different stuff. These are just the ones I usually use for blush. This one is the Moda Pro BMX 130 pointed blush, and as you go, the brush or the bristles spread out, so they just kind of put a wash of color over your cheek. And these 2 work in a similar way. This one is from Crown. I used it today. Sorry, it's a little bit dirty, but this one doesn't have a number. I'm sorry about that. And this one is the Morphe PK14. Another type of blush brush that I like is angled brushes. I find that they're really good to use for blush and get exactly where you want it. And this one's my favorite. This is the Morphe E4. I've also got the Morphe PK4, and this one from Eco Tools. I also really like this one. The bristles on this are super soft. Sorry, this one doesn't have a number either. And then the last type of brush that I like to use for blush is kind of a fluffy brush like this. I really like this one because the bristles are so spread out that when you go to put it on, it does give you a wash of color. So this one is the Luxie 514 blush brush, and this is the Luxie 660 Precision Foundation brush. So you see what I mean by saying, like, I would never use this for foundation. It's just too small for me, it's not dense enough. I love it for blush. I love it for powder. You can use brushes for whatever you want. And then another section that I have to talk about are highlight brushes. So I have a few favorites, but I want to talk about a weird one first. The first one that I've got is this one right here. This is the Moda Pro BMX 250 chisel brush. You can use this for contouring as well because it kind of fits right in your cheek, but I really like to use it for highlighter because you see how the bristles just kind of go up like in a curve. It just hugs my cheekbone, and I can just get a precise highlight right there if that's what I want. And then I've got 2 other brushes that are big and fluffy for highlighting. These aren't my favorite types to use, but I do use them from time to time. This is the Luxie 640 Pro Precision Tapered Brush, and this is from e.l.f. This is number 107 in their Beautifully Precise collection. So this you can just kind of dip in to your product and kind of highlight a bigger space on your face. 2 that I really like also are brushes like this. Will give you a more precise highlighter application because they are small and more dense. They will give you a brighter, more bright Brighter, more brightening. It's like swipe or no swiping. A brighter, more precise, and blinding highlight because they are only going in one spot. But since they are kind of dense, they can blend it out still. So I like those. I don't think I told you what these are. This is the Luxe D512 Small Contouring. Of course, you can use it for that as well, but I like to use it for highlight. And this one is from Crown, and I'm sorry, it's from that same group that doesn't have any numbers. And then there are brushes like this. And these are my favorite highlighting brushes, I think, of all of them because they are so precise. So these will give you a precise area of highlight. They'll pack on the shine, and I think personally give you the best looking highlight. This one is from that Wet n Wild collection. I'm sorry, it doesn't have a number. This one is from Morphe. This is the E61, and this one is from Smallest Glam. This is my favorite highlighting brush right now. This is the L36. And then another option for highlighting is a fan brush like this. I don't personally like to use fan brushes because I think it takes the highlight too far down, usually on my cheeks. I feel like I have kind of a small face, so when I use a big brush like this, the highlight goes too far down on my face, whereas with a smaller brush like this, I can keep it really precise where I want it. So I usually don't use these, but they are an option. Then you have huge fan brushes like this as well. I never use this one. I got it in my subscription. I forgot to tell you what this was. This is from Crown. This is the SS017 Deluxe Highlight Fan. This one is also from Crown. This is the SS23 Jumbo Kabuki Fan. And this one I like to use more if I use it at all. I use it for bronzer, but never highlight. It's too big for that. But I hardly ever use this brush. So I guess for brows, normally for brows I use a product like this because it's personally what I like. They are brow mascaras, and they come in like a little tube with a brush, like a mascara wand, really. Like a mascara wand, really. So I will use those, and I will just go straight on my brows with those. But if you use powders, or if you use like a gel or a pomade or powders, you probably will want to use something like this. These are angled brushes, and they're very small, so they help to get hair-like strokes when you are filling in your brows. They normally come with a spoolie on the end that you can use to brush through your brows and kind of stand them up the way you want them to, go through them. You can see if you've missed any spots, etc. So these two brushes that I have here, this one is the Sedona Lace EB17 and the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 12 brush. So I like those. I also have this little tool. I have no idea where I got it, but it has a comb on one side and a little brush on the other, and I like to use this for grooming my brows. So I'll use little comb to brush all my hairs up, and then I'll use brow scissors and I will trim off anything that is too long, and then I use this to kind of brush through and make sure that they are where I want them to be. I have lip brushes. I don't really use lip brushes personally. I find that I am messier with the lip brush than I am with the actual applicator. One is a more flat looking lip brush like this. This is the Morphe E19, and you can use it just to kind of get a more clean line around your lips. There's also lip brushes like this that are more pointed. This is the Morphe G19. If I'm gonna use a lip brush, I like these more, but I don't usually use them unless I'm doing makeup on somebody else. And I have 3 more things to talk about. These are just kind of extras, I guess. This one is kind of weird. This is a e.l.f. mascara and shadow shield. It's got a, like, this is a rubbery thing just on a stick, and you're supposed to be able to hold it here while you do your eyeshadow and not get any fallout, or while you do your mascara, hold it here. I tried to use it once. It's just kind of a pain. I'd rather just do my eye makeup first if I think I'm gonna have fallout and go from there, but it's available. And then the last 2 brushes I have are these 2. They're like powder bronzer brushes type things, but I like to use them for a different little trick. This one is the Morphe M437, and this bigger one is the Morphe M403. What I like to use these for is I like to get into a dark brown shadow, and then where I have like my part right here where there's just kind of like patches of hair where it looks like there's not as much hair, it's not as right here where my part is, I will take this brush, dip it in a dark brown eyeshadow that matches my hair, and I will just pat it. And it's like a little trick, and I will use the same thing with the small one if it's a smaller area, and it makes your hair look, it makes your hairline look more full. Or like if I pull my hair up like in a ponytail, there's like little patches where it pulls my hair that aren't as thick, so I will just take this and kind of put it there. It makes your hair look thicker, it covers up your scalp, because you know we all have scalps that are way lighter than our hair because they never see the light, or way lighter than our skin because it never sees the light of day. I think it makes your hair look a lot thicker, a lot healthier, and it also just hides the weird patches that you get when you pull your hair up. I think that's it. So if you guys like this video, let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up or a like. Yeah, if you want me to do more videos like this, like tips and tricks and how-tos, let me know and I will do that. But in the meantime, please take a second to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!